The corruption looked great with just a... Blah, blah. The corruption looked neat with just a particle, but I wanted to add... Blah, blah, blah. Gelli Fields has become something extremely special, and over the past few months has blown every expectation of mine out of the water, but there's still a few things holding it back from being the best it can be. I've spent a lot of time developing the game, and the longer I worked on it, the more I noticed the game didn't have a purpose. So I added a train repairing system that I showed off in a devlog. Essentially, there were 3 donation boxes that ask for specific items, and when you complete a donation box, it repairs a part of a broken train. Once you fully repair the train, you'd use it to travel to a new biome, and that was the basic gameplay loop. First impressions of this mechanic were positive. People like that there's a purpose to planting specific items or getting a special type of material, and they like that there was an overall goal to the game. But after a little bit of testing myself, I saw some glaring issues with this system. The first issue I came across with was visuals and just making sense. It doesn't really make much sense that you put a bunch of leaves into a box and that somehow fixes a train. I thought about redesigning the donation boxes to be some sort of magic container and they fix the train with magic, but I ultimately decided against it. The donation boxes also took up a bit of space and I wasn't really fond of that, so I had to come up with a solution that looked better visually and worked better visually. I wrote worked in my script and then said looked. The second issue was item availability. That's a long word. Let's say one of the donation boxes asks for sweet root, but that crop isn't in your shop rotation. The only solution was to get lucky and somehow get the seeds, already have that crop planted, or for me to alter the RNG to make the crop always available when you need it. Now let me explain why RNG to me is important in this game and why I wouldn't want to force it too much. My vision for this game is a place you can go to just relax and feel rewarded. The game doesn't require epic gaming skills and playmaking abilities, you just sit back and enjoy yourself. Working on the game, I discovered how helpful it was for my mental health. I suffer from an anxiety disorder and sometimes I just want to do something without having to do very much. And I found out that this game is exactly that. One component of my anxiety disorder is randomness. Sometimes a welcome random encounter is just enough to kick my brain out of the negative place it's in and get me to start thinking rationally again. Take Pokemon for example. One time I was having a bit of anxiety and decided to play some Pokemon to just relax. But the anxiety was cut short when the first Pokemon I encountered was a shiny. I want to be able to bring that kind of random occurrence into Gelli Fields and make every person's experience different. So that's why I don't want to alter the random stuff too much. Okay, I will admit though, I have already altered the game's randomness because it's necessary for the game to function. I did this by making the cheapest crop in each biome always available for sale in the shop. This adds a little bit of certainty that you always have that item available to be bought, and it works great though because you never have to worry about needing to stock money to continue farming. If I made it so that each box's item was always available, this might mean your shop rotation never actually rotate, and while those boxes are still available, the game will become really predictable. There is a problem inside this problem, which is that requiring specific items was actually a fun mechanic. It made a demand for certain items which can switch up your playstyle, so I needed to come up with a solution that also kept demands for certain items. If you don't know, I live in Missouri, but I'm originally from Michigan, and I actually took a trip back home to see my family and hang out with family members and my nephew and all those people, and it was really, really fun. Me and my fiance went to a town that had a bunch of giant things, like a giant mailbox and also a giant pencil and a giant taco. That was actually really cool as well. Also, we went to go get Wendy's one day and that just turned into an absolute blizzard outside, so that was really crazy. We had to drive really slow and the roads were super slippery. It was kind of scary, but it was really pretty. The third problem was nothing to do with the donation boxes, but rather just a problem I had with the game in general. The game centered around the jelly, but yet the only interaction you had with it was to just give it food or it would get hungry and then you'd lose. The center point of the game started to become just an annoying mechanic that didn't make the game fun at all. It also added a little bit of stress and urgency to the game because you needed to make sure there was an item available for the jelly to eat at any moment. It kinda doesn't make sense to make a chill and relaxing game, but then I added a stressful mechanic. So I needed a solution for that problem too. Many days went by without any immediate idea popping into my head. I wanted to come up with a solution that solved all the various problems I was having, and I knew the idea was in there somewhere, it just didn't present itself to me. I know from past mistakes that when you're working creatively, if you feel like you're forcing something, you should just take a step back, and so I went to work on something else in one of my other games. I emptied my mind basically entirely of anything that has to do with the game, and I basically blocked all thoughts about it. That is, until the perfect solution appeared right in front of me. In the universe my game takes place in, there's magic all around, and that magic consists of what is called essence. Jellies are made entirely of essence and are basically a living form of magic. I decided instead of fixing a train, instead the jellies can gain a bunch of essence and use it to cleanse evil magic in each biome. So now instead of donation boxes, there's a number on a HUD that you need to get to 0 by converting items to essence. You do this by bringing any item to the jelly. This solves the issue of the jelly not doing anything because the main goal in the game is now centered around the jelly. I also decided to remove the hunger and friendship mechanics in the game. These mechanics were interesting but really were more annoying than anything else. If you look at the HUD, you can also see 2 items. These items change daily and will convert for extra essence. This solves the issue that I had where I wanted to make a system that still will make some items more valuable than others. This system is really cool because it rotates items daily, so each day might change up your playstyle. Also, these items aren't needed, so if a player doesn't care about finishing a biome quickly, they can completely ignore these items and just do whatever they like. The last thing I had to do was remove the train repairing. I like the idea of repairing a train, but cleaning up corrupt train parts is a much cooler and visually interesting idea to me. I started by drawing a few different train pieces. One of them is a pile of wheels, the other is a broken train cart with graffiti on it, and the last one is a pile of wood and stone. I actually recorded the process of me creating this for my behind the scenes series Beyond the Screen, which came out today for my members. If you want behind the scenes videos and extra content, check out the link in the description or the join button to become a member today. After I made the art, I got to work creating a corruption particle. I kinda struggled making it, so I took it a bit longer than I wanted to, but the end result was actually really cool. The corruption looked neat with just a particle, but I wanted the actual corrupted things to have a visual effect to them too, so I made an animation that changes color and also shakes every once in a while. The final product for the corruption is really awesome, and the new mechanic solves so many issues and just makes the game even more fun to play. I actually posted a public test build with all of this new stuff in it to see what the community thought of this new mechanic, and that was a bit of a journey for me, so I think I'm gonna save what happened there for a future video, so I hope you stick around.